Plaguey and Mona by Not As Blue. Plague Knight's mind was racing. He made it. He made it. It had finally happened. He had completed the mission, saved the girl, and now he was sharing a long, passionate kiss with his beautiful Mona. It had felt like it was going to last forever when Mona broke it off. You see, Plague Knight was always wearing that silly mask of his. Mona had kissed him, not on the lips, but on the thick paper beak he always had. Mona had never seen, let alone kissed his face before, but she wanted to, badly. For real, Mona softly whispered to a part of Plague Knight's mask she could only assume was near his ear. She placed her hands between his hood and his outgrown hair, searching for the string she needed to untie. Then she released her hands and pulled the mask off, revealing the bright green face of her love-struck knight. Plague Knight jumped into Mona's arms, giving her a warm embrace and a long, tender kiss. Neither of them could have been any happier. Well, maybe a little happier, Mona thought. She, holding Plague Knight by the waist, walked over to the elevating platform next to them, then cranked the lever, sending them down to a secret room of Mona's. The room simply had a heart-shaped bed, a bedstand with 3 drawers, and a candle lighting everywhere. Mona threw Plague Knight off of her and onto the bed. "Where are we?" Plague Knight inquired. Mona giggled, kicking off her shoes. Then she bunched up the bottom of her long robe and lifted it up over her arms and head, disrobing and tossing her full gown to the side, leaving her in nothing but bra panties. "Heaven," she muttered, seductively. All this with overwhelming confidence stemming from the fact that she could see her lover's hard-on. She crawled onto the bed, she and Plague Knight, circling around each other a few times before Mona went in for the kill and grabbed his crotch. She hovered over it for a second, staring at him, before taking his robe-covered cock into her mouth. Plague Knight got a powerful tingling sensation, so powerful he couldn't help the soft moan that escaped his throat. Mona eventually lifted up Plague Knight's robe, letting the full 6 to 8 inches of her prize show. Still hard as rock, she once again placed her lips on Plague Knight's dick, causing him to shiver and squeal. "Fuck, I'm gonna come," he screamed, pushing Mona off of him. She had a dazed, confused look on her. Plague Knight continued to pant. "Not quite yet," he uttered. "I want this to never end." Mona was actually quite heartwarmed at this. Plague Knight jumped onto Mona, beginning to kiss her neck softly, earning a soft groan from his partner. He reached to her back and unlaced her bra strap, pulling her bra off fully and pulling back to gaze at her glorious tits. He massaged and played with them, causing Mona to bite her lip. Plague Knight began to suck on her right nipple. Mona stuck her hand down her panties, brushing her clit at amazing speeds, but Plague Knight slapped her wrist, her hand pulling back. Plague Knight then took the job for himself, rubbing his lover and engulfing her in a sea of pleasure. Plague Knight eventually flipped his partner over, both of them drenched in sweat, and removed her panties with force. He noted how wet she was, before sticking his tongue in her pussy. Mona basked in the pleasure, moaning her partner's name. Eventually, with how Mona was making it very obvious she was reaching her limit, Plague Knight stopped to take a breather, and then to tease the pile of mush laying before him. "Please, don't stop," Mona shrieked. "All right then," Plague Knight encouraged, "but only if I can get off too." "Okay," Mona agreed, getting on her arms and knees. "Fuck me." Plague Knight crawled over, lifted his tunic up, and placed his penis at her pussy's entrance. "No," Mona said. "Other hole." This confused Plague Knight slightly. He placed his penis against her asshole, and she nodded eagerly. Plague Knight pushed in, sending pleasure throughout both lovers' bodies. He pumped her vigorously, Plague Knight eventually regaining his job of rubbing Mona's clit. This progression seemed to bring both to their limit pretty quickly. "I'm coming," Mona claimed. "Me too," Plague Knight added. Mona orgasmed first, squirting all over Plague Knight's cock and causing him to follow. Unbeknownst to either party, Plague Knight couldn't orgasm without bursting across the room, similar to a move he found himself using a lot the past week. He launched off the bed, hitting a wall, and falling flat on his face. Mona turned around with what little energy she could still exert and laughed. Plague Knight eventually joined into the laughing and got back into bed. "I love you, Mona." "I love you too, Plaguey."